Alright, so let's go over what we have covered. So day 1, day 2 and day 3. In day 3 basically we started creating groups. So how to group, how to create the visual grouping, then we created the set, like collection of categories or collection of items. You can create set. Then we saw how to create heat map. So with a different combination of department and category, we created the heat map. And the very important thing we did is date calculation. So we performed lots of operation on the date data type. So how to create continuous date, how to create discrete quarter, discrete month, so and different kind of format. We changed from MMDD YY to YY MMDD. So you can change basically which format you want to look at your data. So when you create your visualization, Tableau has given lots of out-of-box feature to convert the format the way you want. Okay, so it's very similar to the PL SQL statement, how we convert the date type to different formats. Same way here it is the out-of-box function which we can use to do that. Then we saw like how to use filter on top of the date, how to use continuous filter by using two filter condition for the same column. So we used order date for year as well as we use order date for month, then or quarter. Then you can select which quarter, which year to pull out the data in the visualization. Okay, so we have seen that for the date. Then lots of calculation, we created the custom dates. How to create derived calculated field using the date parameters. Then we have seen geo mapping. We have seen geographical mapping. So then what we have seen yesterday is the gap analysis, how you will identify the gap. For example, there is no sales in the weekends, so you can derive that in a chart, in a line chart, and you can do the gap analysis through line chart basically. And then the last one we saw yesterday was the field map. So when you do the geographical mapping, you can field that particular area, that particular country in your world map, in your geographical map, and then you can fill that. So one quick question here before we start. So when you create a geographical mapping, I told yesterday there are two measures which are very important. You need to pull that to rows and columns. So who can tell me what are those two measures when you create a geographical mapping by country? Okay, so can you tell me, that's good, longitude and latitude, which one will be on the row, which one will be on the column? Which one will be on the row, which one will be on the column? So the two maps was longitude and latitude, and you have to pull the longitude into the row, longitude into the column, and latitude onto the row. Okay, perfect. So let's move on, and we'll create lots of calculated fields. So you'll get to know how to create calculated field. So that is very important in real-time scenario. We do create calculated. We create lots of calculated field. Okay, we'll see how we'll create a computed columns out of the columns which is coming from the backend tables. Okay, then once we create that, then we'll create some KPIs. So every organization creates some key performance indicator. So KPI is the business terminology they use to tag certain attributes, certain measures. So when say take an example, I want to see how many students in the class are doing really excellent, how many are doing good or average, and how many are underperformer or below average. So that means I'm setting a KPI. So when I say KPI, when I say people who score more than 80%, they are excellent. If I say if somebody is scoring between 70 to 80, they are good. If they are below 40 or 45, they are under average or below average. So if I set a parameter to measure something, that's my indicator, key performance indicator. So I'm giving a label set. You have to score this much to be in that range. So that's called KPI. We'll see how to create the KPIs. Then we'll see how we can regroup the dimension members. So we talked about the groups. Then we'll talk about how to regroup it logically, like through formula how you'll group it. We created the groups by right click on the list of categories or list of items, then we created the groups. Now we will see same thing we will do through calculation, through formula. Okay, so logically regroup the dimension member. Alright, so these are very important thing to keep your attention, so that will not lose any track of what we are doing today, part of this computed columns. Okay, let's go back to the slide deck for a moment, so that we can see if we have any leftover thing from yesterday. So these things we have covered, all the items we have covered from this one: filtering, sorting and groupings. Then coming to day 2, we have gone through data connection, filtering, sorting, visual groupings, scatter plot using state and heat maps. Then coming to day 3, what we have covered is dates and how to create a custom date, how to apply the filter through dates. So that was specifically we focused lots of activities from the data type. Then we have seen the gaps in the data, so how the sales line chart goes and there is a gap in between. So that also we have seen. Geo mapping, we have seen longitude and latitude, and then we drag the country into the detail section. Automatically it will plot, it will identify the country in that geographical mapping. So if there is a country in your database table which does not having the standard country's name coming convention which exists in the geography, then it says one unknown. You have to go and pick it from the list of uh, uh, correct country name from the list, and automatically it will identify that in the geographical mapping. Okay, so then field map, we have seen how to fill the section in the map. So now today we will look at this, how to create the calculation, how to create the aggregation, and then lots of computed columns. Okay, so let's go back to Tableau desktop. All right, so let's start from a scratch database. So I will connect to a data source. Let's say Superstore sales training. Let me by the meantime let me take a call actually. So All right, so keep your attention. We created a connection to a data source. I'm just dragging the order table here. Even before the data comes in, so you can click on go to worksheet, so automatically it will pull all the columns belongs to the table. And remember it, there are two type of connection, live connection and extract. So I have already talked about what's the difference between live and extract. That's very important to know when you start creating a connection to a data source. So according to your requirement, according to your refresh criteria, if they need to look at the data always every minute, every second live from the database, you can do that. If you want to use it extract mode, the refresh can be run thrice a day or 4 times a day. So that is also efficient way of looking at the report. If they do not look at the report, it does not make any sense to establish a live connection every time they look at the data, right? Then you can apply additional filter in the data source level itself. So if you do not apply it, you have all option to apply the filter during the visualization creation. Okay. So keep your attention. This is a scratch workbook we are doing, so that at the end of the day we will save it. So you guys will see how the data workbook gets saved at TWBX. So now you go to the worksheet. So you have data source connection, you have list of dimensions, you have list of measures. So now the day one, what we saw, how you can move a member from measure to dimension or dimension to member. So you can do that. I just moved, say, order from measure to dimension. Okay. So now this is my worksheet within the workbook. So I'm going to give say this one is calc and aggregation, calculation and aggregation. For example, we will see that feature here, so we'll keep that tab as calc and aggregation. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is right click color, so I'll give a different color, so blue in color. All right, so calc and aggregation. Okay, so now let's move this order date to the row. So you drag and drop. So by default it will pull that year. So we saw yesterday how to change it from year to day. Alright, so let's say I did that as a day. Okay, then let's say I will pull that order from date to row. So it will pull the data by that combination. For order date, how many orders? Hold on a second. Let me move it to this side. Order date, and then there is order. Let me make it discrete so that it will be faster. So now you saw that. So by default, when you drag the order date, so it came as year. Then we change it to format, which format we want, month, day and year, and then you make it as discrete. So remember that the difference between discrete and continuous. Yesterday I saw that. Yesterday I was showing you guys what is the difference between continuous, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. That's your continuous. Okay. So when you say discrete, how the continuous and discretes are related to each other. Okay, so you see that here all the 2010 will come together, then again it will go to 2011, so then it will go to the 2012. But when you say continuous, so you will see that for Q1 2010, Q1 2011, Q1 2012, then Q2 2010, Q2 2011, and Q2 2012. So that's the difference as an example. But if you look at our yesterday session, so I have shown you guys what's the difference between continuous and discrete, how to create a computer date, custom date as a continuous date or as a discrete. Okay, so now a day, and then place order over here. Okay, then let's pull measure, so cells, I'll put it on the text. Alright, so now what it does, these are the order date and these are the orders number, and on the order numbers these are the cell. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we will create a calculated field. So you go here, analysis, we'll create a create calculated field. So what I want to know is I have sales, I have profit. Let's say I want to calculate the profit ratio. Okay, so how much profit, how much sales, and then I will calculate the profit ratio. So let's give an example as profit ratio. So you give a calculated field name as profit ratio. Okay, so here you have all the members and dimensions, everything comes together at one place. So you can go here and check if you want having a confusion, which is a text type, which is a numeric type, which is a date type. You can select it here. So let's go here as profit. Just double click on that, automatically it will come over here. So if you want to type in, once you get comfortable with this, so you can type in, which will minimize your time rather than going here and selecting it. But if till then, you can even just go here and double click. So now you have profit, and I just click divided by and sales. So if you observe here, if you are typing something wrong, automatically it will say there is an error. If there is any syntax error, then automatically it will show calculation content error. Okay, so now you see click on sales, so profit by sales. Now you see the calculation is valid. Okay, so if by mistake, that's a good thing, there is a color coding. So if you type in something in the wrong, so it will automatically show the calculation has an error. So syntax error, maybe you are missing an operator, so it is not considering that what you have written is correct. But if I put a left parenthesis, then it will become correct. So it will not give it, sometimes it will give you very valid message when you are having some syntax error. Otherwise it will say like syntax error, maybe you are missing an operator. Alright, so let's say I will do that profit by sales. So in that way, this is a profit ratio, new computed field I created. So in the bottom section in the measure, you will find one new member called profit ratio. Okay, so now you see that one new member got created, that's called profit ratio. Okay, so if you go here, there is a default properties. Okay, so let me drag this profit ratio. Alright, so you have let me add the profit. So you have profit, you have sales, and now you have profit ratio. Let me take it out. Okay, so you have profit ratio now. Alright, so you have profit, you have sales by date, and then you have profit ratio. So let's go here and go to format. So profit ratio is a percentage. So now you have automatic, so number, currencies, percentage. So you know that profit ratio what you are calculating is a percentage type. So select percentage. So automatically you will observe here the third column, profit ratio, the computed column we created, the percentage will change. So it will get converted into percentage type. So now you see, so that become percentage type, and you can give the decimal place, how many decimal place you want. If you say I want 3 decimal place, automatically it will pull 3 decimal place from the database. So if you say I want just 2 decimal place, so it will pull 2 decimal database. All right. So now the profit ratio which we created as a computed column, and that has been used here, and it will show you profit, sales, and profit ratio. So now let's say I will pull the category from here, and I'll replace that order by category. Let's take out the order. So you will see by day of order date, and then you have different category, how much profit, how much sales, and what is the profit ratio. So if you observe one thing here, what happens, so in this category we are grouping it, right? So your sum, your profit is total profit. So it's not like how you are deriving individual items profit. It is a chair and or paper or storage. So you are grouping it and you are taking sum of profit. So here you are seeing sum of sales. That's why your ratio, which you are just calculating profit by sales, is going above 100. So if you look at that aspect is not correct, because you are making profit $10 in one item, $20 in another item. So it does not mean that in total, if you look at the office equipment or fixture, furniture, or books, so it's not like that it will just get added off and it will go to 200% profit. So your percentage should be within that 100%, below 100%, right? So maximum, you will say maximum profit is 100%. So it cannot be more than that. Why it is happening? Because the calculation formula what we have written, we have just given profit by sales, so which is not correct, because we have to give sum of profit divided by sum of sales, then it will give you the correct profit ratio. Because when you are grouping the item profit, you are total, here the measure is sum. So sum of profit, sum of sale. So this cannot be become sum of profit ratio, so which is not correct. So you have to make sum of profit divided by sum of sale will be your profit ratio. So let's go here to profit ratio column, right click, edit. So you will observe that. So here you have more than 100%, because first you are deriving the ratio, then you are summing it off. But what you need to do is first you sum it off the profit, then you sum it off the sale, and then you derive the profit ratio. So that is the correct formula to calculate the profit ratio when you look at, okay, by group or by category. So now let's say you have here profit divided by sales. So what you can do is, let's either you type in here if you know that. If you don't know, no worries. So what you can do is, let me go select one, go to sum function, sum, double click there. So automatically it will bring the sum function. So you sum, then pass the parameter. So in the right section, if you see that help section, so it will give you saying sum and expression. So you have to give which member you want to get the sum. So let's say I want to do the sum of profit divided by sum of sales. So now my syntax is correct. So I just edited that. So now I edited this profit ratio. So whatever is already there, which is not correct, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace and then I'm going to delete the old one. And then same exercise I'll do. I'll go here, click on format, go to the numeric, then go to percentage, and you have 2%. Okay. So now you see that the same one which was coming as 127%, now it is giving you below 100 because your percentage cannot be, ratio percentage cannot be more than 100 because your calculation was wrong. You are deriving the ratio first and then you are adding it off. So it's not like that you will keep adding of all items profit ratio. So in the total profit ratio will go 200%, which is not correct. So first you have to add all the sales in your total item. You add all the profit of the total item, then say sum of profit divided by sum of sales will give you the profit ratio. Alright, so this is how we create the computed column. Just one we did. Same way we will create a couple of more, so you will see how to create the KPIs in the same fashion. Okay, so let's say you have sum of profit, you have sum of sale. So now let's say you want to look at the you want to prefix and postfix. Now you have the profit and you have the sales, but it does not have the correct format. So let's say you want to go to the sales, click on the format, then you select here, and this one is the currency custom. So let's say currency custom. So you can prefix. So now you see when you select this custom, automatically this column changes here, the sales. So it prefix with the dollar symbol, and you can, if there is a negative number, you can highlight it within the parenthesis, or you can prefix with a negative sign. And then there is a decimal place. Let's say I don't want to see, I want to round it off. So the round function we use in Oracle PL SQL statement, here you just delete this decimal places, automatically it will round it off. So now you have let's do the same exercise for profit. So now you go here, click on format, go to number format, and then you select the currency custom, and you can take out the decimal place. Alright, so any symbol you want to give, you can give here, so automatically it will show off in this custom currency format. So in that way you maintain the consistency between different measure in your visualization. Alright, so that's one way. So now let's jump into another tab. So what we are going to do is we'll create a KPI. Okay, so now what is KPI? I told already, the key performance indicator. When you set a indicator to look at your data, so you don't want to look the data by number, whereas you want to give a indicator saying if the sales of this product is greater than this much, then I will say a great product. Or if the profit ratio is greater than 10%, then I will say 20%, then I will say it is a great product. If it is 10 to 20, I will say good. If below 10% profit ratio, then I will say we need some improvement. So that kind of things we suppose we need to write in the KPI. Okay, so now let's go here. So I can region, let me pull, maybe I can pull region, and let's pull sub region. Okay, to the column. Then let's say I have department into the row. I will take one more per category, for example. Alright, so we do see that department, category, and then we have the region and sub-region in the column, and this is the data. So now we have not given any measure, that's why you don't see that. These are all what you are seeing. ABC is the dummy member for all your textual data type. So that means ABC means this is a tabular report with the text type. Okay, so now we just need to drag the measure. So let me, before I drag the measure, let me okay, let's pull that profit ratio to the text. Okay, so this is what you are seeing here is the profit ratio for department, category, and by region. Okay, so now let's say okay, so go to analysis, create another calculated field, and I'll say profit ratio KPI. So I want to create a KPI for this. So I'll say profit ratio KPI. So in the profit ratio KPI, so suppose I want to set a KPI. So what I will do is, so if, and there is a if statement. So if, click on that. Okay, so if then you can see the expression here. You have to write the expression then. So if then subsequently you can write else if. So if then else if then you can write the end. Okay, so that is a syntax. So if you want to say if my profit ratio, so let's say the member what we created, the profit ratio is greater than equals to 0.5. So suppose I say if profit ratio greater than equals to 0.5, then indicate me as great. Okay, so if profit ratio greater than equals to 0.5, then it is a great product, like the sales are going great. Okay, but if the else if profit ratio is greater than equals to 0.25, say, then I will say good. Else, so every if will have a else condition, if, else, and. So else I want to say this need improvement, needs. It's very easy. It's just like you are writing a pseudocode. So if ratio greater than 0.5 then it is a great product. If else if, so if you do not have a else condition, just say if greater than 5, then great, else need improvement. Then you do not need to write else if. So if you have two condition, then you are writing else if. So otherwise the syntax will be like this. Let me take it out first. So if, else, and if and end, there will be else condition. What is the first condition? Then great, else, need improvements, end. But if you have multiple condition, then you can just say else if. So you can done that by writing a else if condition, which is a kind of inner if statement. So in case of writing inner if, you can just say else if profit ratio greater than 0.25, then it's a good product. Okay, so else needs improvement. So the name we have given as profit ratio KPI. Click OK. So you will see that there are two. One is profit ratio. Now one more came as profit ratio KPI. Okay. So let me remove profit ratio now and drag this. Okay. Then we are going to create the KPI. So when you talk about KPI, so then you have to talk about the set. So you automatically this measures will change. Then you drag the profit ratio, drop it on top of the set. Okay, so now this is the KPI report. So when you talk about KPI report, remember, if a business is asking I need a KPI report, then the first thing will come to your mind is you have to change your selection your chart type will be SEP. So when you change it to SEP, what happens is here you will be seeing a new mark card. So that is called SEP. So if you drop any measure on top of it, so before that you have color, size, label, detail and tooltip, but now you have one more called SEP. We'll come back to that. What you're asking, let me quickly see that. Can I place the default value if there are any null value? What does it mean? So if there are any null value, we'll come to that question maybe during end of our session. Just keep hold on to your thought. What I'm saying is whatever you create, whatever data it has, either it is null or non-null value, you can create your you can change your default graph or default chart type, so automatically it will show you how your chart will look like. But the most important thing is you need to understand the business requirement, what business is asking for, and then you can change it. So accordingly you see that, so automatically your chart will change. So now you have a SEP, because when you talk about KPI, remember it is a very important thing. In the real-time scenario you will see several KPI reports. Nobody looks at the number, they always go by KPIs, and that time you need to select it to SEP. Okay, then once you SEP it, so then I drag that and drop it here because I have written the formula to derive the KPIs. Now automatically it pulls this symbol. So there are standard KPI symbols. So what you have to do is just double click on this SEP. So now you see that these are the default symbol, but what you can do is go to this drop down list. You can create your own SEP and you can reload it. So if you have something specific to your company, that icons you can create and then you can load it so that it will be available here in this palette selection. Okay, so now there is one called KPI. So you suppose you are creating a headcount report or gender report, then you can do with the gender icons. These are some standard icons coming out of box from Tableau, but you can still add your reload your own SEPs. Okay, so now let's say I will go for KPI 1. So if you go for KPI 1 and you can select here good. So for good, suppose you say this one, and great you say this one, and then for need improvement you said say this one. Alright, so you have given good, great and needs improvement. Then when you say apply, so automatically you keep observing, backend icon will change. Okay, so whatever you want to give, you can give that, automatically your icon will change. So if I say that is good, so this one is great, and then this one is need improvement. So you can apply it, so automatically your symbol will change. Okay, so in that way they can easily differentiate, because it's all about visualization, right? So here the ratio is there, so good is great is this icon and need improvement is this icon. So in that way we can visualize how your graphs looks like, how your KPIs looks like. Alright, so that's about your KPI report. Let me click once again and you can go ahead with your KPIs. So you can change to any option as well. So there is no hard and fast rule saying you have to use the KPIs. But suppose you are creating a dashboard for a internal to IT system, so there are bug tracking. So suppose there are lots of data coming in the tracking tool where there are lots of projects going on, each project has different set of bugs, so you want to keep a bug tracking, then you can use this as icons to derive that. If you are creating a weather report, so you can say sunny, cloudy or it is raining, so in that way you can use these icons for the weather symbols. right? So that's how you see the different dashboard flashing on weather for weather websites, how they are deriving these things. So they are giving the KPIs. So if your chance of rain is less than 10%, then just put an umbrella symbol there, so people will understand there is a chance of rain. Or if it is a sunny, then you just put it as the lighting sunny sunshine. So that kind of stuff. So it's all KPIs, and these all icons you see, these are all related to the KPIs. All right, so now let's go for analysis. So remember this, we are just creating one by one worksheet within the workbook. Okay, so I can save this workbook completely at the end as a workbook, as a Tableau workbook, TWB, or I will say save it as a packaged workbook, TWBX. So when I say packaged workbook, it will be collection of all the worksheet as well as the data source. So yesterday somebody was asking, how did we get this all this work packaged workbook? So it's nothing exists, you have to develop it, then you have to save it. So how you save it, that is how it will be in your Tableau repository in your local machine before you publish that into the Tableau server. So last step is you have to publish it. So first you create connection, you build your worksheet. Within the worksheet you build your own visualization, then finally you save that packaged workbook or workbook and you publish it on the Tableau server or Tableau public. Okay, so what we do, we have multiple worksheet, then you build a dashboard by connecting to multiple worksheet, and then that dashboard symbol is this one, the bottom one. The way we are building multiple worksheet, same way you can create multiple dashboards, and you can rearrange all your worksheet within the dashboard, and then you can put your company logo, you can give a help URL, lots of stuff you can do. So we will go over that, but basically the objective to say that is you just need to know you are creating worksheet within the workbook. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we have seen how to create a KPI through computed column. We saw how to create a profit ratio computed column by taking sum of profit divided by sum of sales. So now we will create a group, logical group. Logical grouping. Okay, so we'll create logical grouping through formula, through the computed calculated field. So how to do that? So same database connection I have. So I have profit ratio, I have KPIs. So now let's say, okay, let me give KPI as a different color, and then I'll give this one as a different color. Right. So let's say logical grouping. So in the logical grouping, let's go for a department, and you can right click here and you say create calculated field, or you come back here as analysis and then you say create calculated field. So however you comfortable, once you get used to all these menu options, you can do that whichever options better for you. But if you have that saying I want to create a computed field on top of profit, you can better to right click there and say create calculated field. Alright, so let's go here to say department, and I want to right click and create calculated field. Okay, so it says, let's say I want to group something like technology or others. Okay, so that grouping, what we did that day was right click, create groups. So where we selected list of value for one group, then machinery other group, then we created rest of the things as and other categories. So here same condition, we will be writing through the calculated field through the formula. Alright, so now it says department. So what I will do is I'll put a if statement. If, so I will type in if. Oh, you saw that how I brought over from this function list, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in, so if department is equals to say technology, then so that always remember to type it in the bold letter, so it will better look and feel will be better, and you easily like differentiate what is a function and what is the value in or parameter you are passing in that function. So if department is technology, then you say technology only, okay, else I will say all other products. Right. So what I did is it's just simple if statement I wrote. So one is if department is equals to technology, then technology only, else all other products. Now I click OK. Okay. Now from here, let's drag sales to the column, and the one we created just now is technology and others, the computed column on top of department. Let's drag that to the row. So now you see, so it grouped all technology only or all other groups. But if you go to the department, so let's say you see that department how it works. So when there is a department called technology, so it says technology only, but furniture, office supplies, rest all has been grouped to all other products. So in place of you right click on the department and create a group and select whatever value, hard-coded value, so you can control that through a calculated field. So if you know how your grouping works, so in the real-time scenario you will be seeing different kind of groupings got created through calculation field, not by right click creating groups. So you create some grouping members and then use as per your requirement. Okay, so that's how your grouping is happening here. So let's say you have sum of sales here, and you have technology and others, the calculated field we created here, and let's say I will drag maybe the region. Region. Okay, so you give that Asia Pacific, EMEA, Latin America, North America, and then you create the groups. So it will say by this region, by this groupings of departments, technology and others. So how much technology sell, how much all other products sell. So you can do that in that way. All right. So now if you go to the show me, so you can change it so to different kind of reports. So if you want to see that in a tabular report, so automatically you see Tableau does it for you. It moves the region from rows to columns. So it becomes your region become column, and this one become your row. So when you select something, so automatically Tableau move the dimension member selection to different section. So which will be row, which will be column, which will be measure, automatically it derives. But still you have the opportunity, you can do that as well by yourself, rather than giving the artificial intelligence to Tableau to do that for you. All right, so you can change it, different kind of charts. So if somebody wants to look at the sales by technology and other departments in this way, so whichever is suitable for your requirement, you can just do that. So if you want to go by color, so if you see this, so your sales has automatically jumped into the color because you used that color mapping. So if you want to use color mapping, automatically your cells will go to the color. So if you come back here to your text report, so automatically it will come back to your text report, normal text report. So if you go back to the horizontal bar chart, so automatically it will show up as a horizontal bar chart. Alright, so it automatically moves, but you can rearrange it, you can delete, you can remove, everything you are doing through your mouse control. So you are not writing any programming here, but there are lots of things you can do through the custom calculation, the calculated field. Alright, so that's another worksheet how you created a logical grouping through this one. So all other products you have all the 4 region, technology only, then 4 region, then you can look at the cells. Alright, so let's go over another one, how to do a calculated field or how to create a data type conversion. So if you want to manipulate some string, if you want to concatenate some string, so there are 2 text type. So how you derive, all we talked about is how to create the calculated field through the numeric data type or the number like profit ratio or the profit ratio KPIs. So now let's see how I will create a calculated field for string type. So you have suppose say customer number and customer name. So you want to prefix the customer name followed by customer number or something like that, or you have first name and last name, and you derive a one column called first name, last name, comma, first name. So in that case you have to concatenate 2 different columns. So that is a very generic requirement, comes many times, because in the Oracle or any backend table you will not see first name and last name sitting in one column. Definitely it will be in the 2 different columns. So you have to derive how the user wants to present it in their visualization. So in that case you have to concatenate last name comma first name, or last name space first name, or first name space last name, so that kind of stuff. So you can concatenate. So let's create a calculated field with string data type. Okay, string operation, let's say. All right, so let's say I will go with a customer name. So I will drag that customer name here, and let's say sales, I'll take it to text, and I can filter it something by country and region. So drag it into the filter. Yeah, either select all, or we can just select a couple of them. Maybe let's say New Zealand. I can select, let's say, Australia. Okay. All right. So you have the all options. You can change it. So when you right click here, show quick filter, then you can select whatever you want. Okay. And if you want to hide quick filter, you can just click on that, so it will take away. So it's all depending on your design. You can change it. So let's say, and but when you apply, give that option of show quick filter, then that filter will be available for business user to select or change it. If you do not show them the quick filter, they will not able to select or change it. So make sure you do that. And then one more thing here, let me talk about really quick. So there is one called quick filter. No, there is one called filter, and there is one called context. So there is a difference between a context filter and regular filter. So what we are applying here is a regular filter. Okay. So context filter, when we do that context filter, so context filter will be applied specific to a particular context. Okay. So what happens when we apply this regular or general filter? So it applies on the result set. So first your query get executed in the backend. it pull all the data out of database, and after that you apply the filter on the front end, on the visualization itself. That's the regular filter. When you say I want to make it as a context filter, so what it will happen is it will fire the filter in the query execution time in the backend database itself. So it will not pull thousands of record to your Tableau data cache, and then it will not apply the filter. What it will do, it will apply the filter directly when the SQL get fired on top of the backend table to pull the data. So that's the difference between regular filter and context filter. So many times we feel the context filter is better, and when there is a performance issues and all, we apply the context filter so that it will apply that filter condition not only at the front end visualization level, it will apply the filter from the backend database data pool time. So when you pull the data from data source and you store it into a Tableau repository as in the cache memory, and then after that you show it into the visualization, right? So in place of applying the filter at the visualization, you can minimize the data pool from the backend itself by converting the filter, regular filter, to a context filter. So for a specific context, you are applying the filter. Alright, so let's say you have country name here, and you have cells here, and you have region there. So now I'll go to analysis, create a calculated field. Let's say I'll give customer name and number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to concatenate the customer name like some text before the number, customer number, so that it is a string operation, a string concatenation. So what I'm going to do here, I'll write customer number plus, I said yesterday, when you have plus operator and if your data type is text, so automatically your plus will behave as a concatenation of two string. But if it is a numeric in a value, then that plus operator will behave as a addition operator. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert the numeric to string type, because so there is a str function will be there somewhere. Let's see. So you can filter here by string. So you will find let me see that. Yeah. So if you select that str, so you see that return a string given to an expression. So if you enter a numeric, pass a parameter as a numeric value field, automatically it will convert that to string type. So that's str. Let's see, there is a customer ID. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prefix customer number. Suppose you want to prefix a name Mr. or Miss or whatever before the name of the person, or junior or senior or doctor, whatever you want to prefix before the name. So that might not be exist in your database, and you know if somebody gender, you can check the gender column from the database table, and accordingly you can prefix whether it is Mr., Mistress, whatever, MRS or MR, whatever before the name. So that way you can write a if condition by checking one particular value. You can prefix whatever text or whatever string you want. So let's say customer number plus customer ID plus, I'll give say one hyphen plus, I'll give the customer name. So I know the customer name is already string type, so I don't need to convert this to string type. But I know the ID is a numeric, so if I do not give a str function, what it will think, it will just think like it will give you an invalid error, because it will not able to concatenate a numeric with a string. So this will like this is a customer ID will be a numeric, customer number or whatever text we are giving as a string, so it will not able to concatenate. So that's why we converted forcefully this numeric to string by str function, then our rest all are having the numeric type, so we are good here. Alright, so the calculation is valid. So now I click on OK. So now what I'm going to do, in place of this customer name, I'm going to use the customer name and number. So let's drag and drop it on top of it, so automatically it will replace that. So you can see that here. So you can drag and you can readjust however you want to look at your data. So you have the customer number, then the ID is coming up 425, 668, all these things, and then you have the names, and then you can see the cells. So if you want to take this country and region, let's say I'll take the region. So you can put the region in the column. So Asia Pacific, because I applied the filter condition, and let me apply all. So if I apply all, so automatically it will go there. Let's focus on the Canada, and you can select one from Germany, because you have North America and EMEA, so you can pull all the customers. So you can go to Australia. So as you select, automatically it will pull the data for you, but the objective was how you created the calculated field from the string type. Okay, so how you created the calculated column from the string type. Alright, so that's how you will be practicing, and you will be creating several calculated fields when you work on a real-time project. There are lots of KPIs to be developed. There are lots of logical groupings to be derived. So in that way, you can create many calculations. Alright, so let's take a 5-minute break. We'll be back, and then we will continue from there. We'll see more on the date calculation, how you calculate the date difference. So you have a, say you have a order date, you have a ship date. What is the duration? How many days left for shipping? So that is how company, like let's say you place some order in Amazon. It says it will take you 3 days. How they calculate that? So order date and ship date. So that duration. Suppose they see thousands of reports on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. How many orders has been placed? How many order has to be shipped by this date? So in that way, you can keep track of your sales and the revenue as well. Okay, so we'll look at that date calculation, how you calculate date difference and all. So let's take a break for now for 5 minutes. Right. So we talked about how to create a string operator, how we can concatenate the like text type, string data type to a numeric data type, and how you can convert a numeric to a string type by str function. Then you create a plus operator will behave as a concatenation, and that's how we derive this calculated field called customer name and number. Right. So let's talk about another tab. Let's go to another tab and we'll say date and date calculation. Date calculation. Alright, so let's say date calculation, and in this there is a order date. So what we are going to do is we'll right click here, create calculated field. Or maybe we'll create a zip date and we'll say create calculated field. So you can use anything, whichever date parameter for where you want to create basically a calculated field. And it says days to zip, for example. I'll create this one. So where we will calculate the order date minus ship date. So how many days are the difference between when the order has been placed by a customer and what date has been committed to them, which will be the ship date. So accordingly they look at the report and they dispatch, they ship the items on a specific date, so that item will reach by the committed ship date. So very important for a customer satisfaction. Companies, the retails or online stores, they maintain that level of branding, and they do not delay the deliverable from the committed ship date. That's why they look at various kind of reports when the order placed and then when the ship date has committed, and accordingly they dispatch the items on specific days. Alright, so let's say now we are going to create a date difference. So if you look at this, select the date, so you will find lots of date functions. So if you say type conversion, so you can see the conversion type. So you can convert a expression. Suppose the expression is 4/15/2004 and you want to create a date type. So when you say date type, automatically it will make 2004-04-15. Okay, so date time. So suppose you want to see, you want to not only see the dates, but you want to see the capture by date and time. So you can do that through date time function. Like integer function we use very much. So you have some real or decimal numbers, but you want to round it and you want to convert it to a integer type. So you say int and then you give the value, say 8.0 by 3.0, which is 2. So in place of having the 2.0, so it will just show you 2. So that means it is making a rounded numeric number. So that's where it is integer. So and then string function, we saw that str. So how you convert a numeric number. So employee ID. So employee ID is not a measure, but still it is numeric in nature. So suppose you want to concatenate the employee ID followed by employee name. So in that case, to concatenate the name is a string type, but ID is a numeric type. So how you will concatenate? So you have to convert that employee ID to a string type by str function. Str, within the parenthesis you give the employee ID plus you give the employee name. So automatically these two will be considered as string and it will be concatenated. So those are the very frequently used type conversion commands. And then if you go to string functions, so very often we use length function. So it will give you the total length. So if you say I want only the first 3 character of first name. So some companies they maintain first character of the first name and then the last name at the rate the company ID as an email ID. So in that case you have to derive the first character from the first name. So you can use string function, or you can use the left parenthesis left function. So how many position you want and how many character you want, you can use that left function, and you can derive the total length. So if you want to use calculation, so that is the left function, it will take 4 character. If you use length, so say calculation, so it will calculate how many characters in the length, so it will say return will be 11. So L trim, R trim, these two we frequently use. So L trim is trimming from the left, R trim is trimming from the right. So sometimes what happens is, if there is a space, if there is a space in the prefix, or if there is a space in the like end of the string, then in the trim function what it will do, it will take out that space. Okay, so for example, here there is a string where sales is prefixed with a space, so trimming is, it will trim all the available blank space from the left side, so that's L trim. Same way there is a R trim. Okay, and if you want to take some characters out of right side of the string, then you can say calculation comma 4, so it will say TION, so that's the last 4 characters, so that's pick the character from right. So all these functions are available in PL SQL. What Tableau has done is, it has built it through this options, this function options embedded into your desktop, so you can just use it rather than writing any completely ground zero level of coding. Okay, so R trim, right, left, length, so that one. So another frequently used one is the lower and upper. So sometimes what happens is, in the database table you will be seeing the data in the lower case, but your requirement says, suppose you want to convert it into uppercase. So in that case you need to make it as upper, then pass that column value, automatically it will convert it into the uppercase. If you look at this example, so go through this, I'm just talking about the one which are very frequently used, upper and lower, L trim or R trim, or max or min, so that kind of stuff. So those are string operators. Same way, let's go with the date. So now there is one called date difference. So now what we are going to do is, we are going to create the date difference between ship date and order date. Okay, now let's click on that one. Oops. Highlight this, and then you click on date difference. So what is the parameter from date difference? So date difference parameter says date, which date format we want, what is the start date, what is the end date. So say I want, okay, I want the type is day. Okay, so then I want which date, I want the order date, then I want the ship date. So remember, many times we have seen the issue, if you just make the ship date first and order date second, then you will see the negative number of days left, which is not correct. So make sure you understand which parameter will go first, which parameter will go second. So if you are going to derive order date and ship date minus order date, then you have to say first order date and then ship date. So automatically what it will do, today you have placed the order, the shipping will happen day after tomorrow. So that means the difference is left is suppose 2 days. So then when you subtract it, you have to subtract ship date minus order date, not the order date minus ship date. Okay, so in that way you can show the positive number of days left. So date difference, day, and then order date and ship date. What this day function will do, it will pull the day from this order date. Okay, so it will calculate the day, and then it will calculate the day from the ship date, and it will take the difference of that. So let's click on OK. Okay, so days to ship came over here as a measure. So now what we are going to do is, let's drag that to column, and we can say department, to the row, Okay, so I will convert that to average, so that it will show you how many average days to ship. And I can pull category here, so the department, the category, and then I can pull the item here, say example. Okay, so in that way it will show me which department, which category, which item, how many days left for average number of days for shipping. Okay, so you can adjust it. Yeah, so you can adjust that, or you can say for which category, which item, how many days left for shipping. Okay, so that's how you calculated your days to ship. So if you have like kind of you want to edit, you can edit, you can derive whatever you want through this date difference functions. There are lots of date functions here, so you can use that. So that is a day function here. So what it does, you see that if you use the day, so from this parameter, so it is pulling 12, so the day is 12, so that's why it is pulling 12. But if you give month function, it will same value will return 04. So if you say month, so that will be 4. Okay, and same way year will bring the year. Today will give you the system day. So today whatever is the today, it will show the system date, whatever is the today's date, current date in the system, so that will show you the today's date. Okay, just let me have a look at the question. Okay, so if you want to see that, if you go okay, you are asking something to show me, so it will show me here, and you go and you make it as tabular report, so automatically it will become a tabular report. So what is the average number of days and days to ship? So how many what is the average number of days, and then how many days is left for shipping. Okay, so you can view that, so all the items are there. So make sure you understand your requirement on how you want to look at your data, so accordingly you can derive the visualization. Okay, you can take out the category. Okay, so department, and then you can say tabular report, and then what you can do is days to ship. You can go here and format, you can say number, and you can take out the decimal. So in that way you can also see how many days left for your shipping of that particular item. Let's say you will take the category here, right, and you can put the items, right. So in that way you will see for which item how many days left for shipping. So it basically depends on how you look at your data. So either it is a tabular report, or it is through a chart, or graph, however you want to do that. Alright, so if you go back here, so automatically it converts that average days of ship, so it moves the columns from major, the days to ship from major to column. So when you select here from the show me option, automatically it takes that to a text, the label. So that's why you see that coming over here, this mark card. But if you are forcefully choosing the automatic one, it will be there in the column section. Alright, so let's create one called tabular report. Tabular cells, view. So tabular visualization, for example, we want to create. So go to the same database connection. We'll see why we are talking about tabular, because you will be seeing several reports built on the tabular report and pie chart or bar chart. So these three charts will be very frequently used. Then KPI is another one which many company ask for when they look at the headcount report, when they look at the different KPIs to measure their revenue or profit ratio. That's where they will ask for KPIs. And then date parameters, very frequently used. So lots of date level calculation you'll be doing, because people look at the data on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on quarterly basis, monthly basis. So you need to derive the report in such a way. You have to write lots of computed calculated field for deriving the month over month, year over year, week over week, quarter over quarter reports. Right? And selection is easy, so you can change your graphs, whether it is a pie chart or a bar chart, depending on the ask from the business. Okay. So let's go for the department to the row. Let me pull the category to the row. Okay. Let me take the region to the column. So you see that automatically it built a tabular report. So you have sub-region here, and let me see the profit on the text. So now you see that automatically it pulled the profit into this highlighted section in the cell. Okay, now if you want to let's say I will say profit, and I'll drop it on top of the column. So what it will color. So what it will do, it will highlight your cell, and it will highlight the area and with a different color. Okay, so now let's go here, right click, there is a format. So you can change the format for the whole sheet, or you can change the format for rows, or you can change the format for the columns. So if you say I want to change the format for the worksheet, so you can always do that by going here, and you can change your whatever font you want, whether you want a bold, so you can make it bold. So everything, you see that all the reports got bold in color, so you can change that. And worksheet background, you can change your worksheet background, the font background basically in the worksheet, so all the color got changed. So if you give a different color, so that will change. So you can do lots of formatting part of your tabular report design. Okay, and then if you want to see the rows, so you can go to the row, and you can row header. So you can give a different color to the row header. Say I want to give a different color, or I want to give a different color to row header. So and then you can give a different font. Okay, so that you can do. And then you can go to the column. So if you want to give the column header, so the column header will change. So you can give different column header, so that also is possible. Change it. So your rows, columns, and then your you can particular cell you can highlight, or you say keep only, and then it apply a filter, so you remove it, automatically it will go back. Okay, and now you select this, and then for example you want to go here, you want to copy the data. So if you want to copy the data, or you want to copy as an image, so it will be, you can copy and then you take it and paste it in a Word. So you can do that. So copy data, or you can copy it and paste it in Excel, and you can do all your own math. So you can do that as well. Okay, so you have this format here, and then in the format you can select the color of the worksheet. The default color is white, so you can give a different background color to the worksheet. So you see that. So you can do lots of stuff formatting from the visualization standpoint to build your report. Okay, so you can do whatever you want. So there are lots of options available here. You have to just go with the format, and then you will look at the fonts, and then you change according to your visualization requirement. Okay, so now let's that's about how you highlight the table. So you can highlight the particular areas in the particular sections in the tables. So now there is one good option. So suppose you have these totals, right? So you have these rows and you have these columns. So the column is says by region, sub-region, and rows is says by department, by category. So you want in this tabular report, suppose you want to add a grand total. So there is a very frequently asked requirement from every business units to look at the row total or column total. So go to analysis, then there is a total. So if you say so row grand total, automatically Tableau will calculate for you. You are not doing any kind of calculation to derive that. Click on show grand total, automatically it will show you a grand total. And if you want to change that, you just go here, format it, and then you change whatever color you want to give to that font. Say there is a header, so header font, suppose you want to give red, and you can give whatever you want to give, and then you go to pen, and then alignment, you can do left alignment, right alignment, or center alignment. That also you can do, and you can change that font as well. Okay, so there are lots of properties you can change, but this grand total is important. So you calculated the grand total automatically for you. So same way, go here to analysis, total, show column total. So if you go here, there is a bottom line will be added as grand total. Okay, so go here, you can go ahead to this, and you can format this as well. So there are lots of stuff you can do, but this is a grand total for the column, and there is a grand total for the row. Okay, now suppose you want to insert a subtotal. So they say by department I need to see the total. That is called subtotal. So there is a grand total, there is a row total, a row grand total, there is a column grand total, and there is a subtotal. So go here, analysis, total, adds all subtotal. So what it will do, there will be it will add one total line for each groups. So if when we do that PL SQL, we write lots of commands and group by conditions to calculate the total. First we group by category, first we group by items, then we group by category, then we group by department. After that we derive a total. But here in Tableau, it does it for you. You don't need to worry about it. Just go analysis, select total, and then say add subtotal. So if you say remove subtotal, then automatically it will remove the subtotal for you. So you can just play around and change whatever you want according to your requirement in the dashboard itself. Okay, so that's how we keep once you practice, once you look at different kind of menu options, then you will see what other options are there and how it can make your visualization better, user friendly. Then you can do that, right? But these are very frequently asked requirement from business to look at the grand total from the row, look at the grand total from the column, or to add the subtotals and all. So we'll go over it some advanced options as well, but these are the basic things we do, part of the totals and aggregations. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much for today. We will again continue. Now I'm going to save this, so let's go here and I will say save. So it will ask me where I want to save it. So I can save it anywhere. I can save it in my desktop. So if you say, I will say ITA therefore, and then I have the option whether I will make it as a TWB or I'll make it as a TWBX. So if I make it a packaged workbook, it will hold all the worksheet. Let me save it here. Okay, so now the name become ITA training day 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this and I will open a blank Tableau desktop. Then we will import the same packaged workbook which we saved. File, open. Now you see ITA training day 4. This symbol is coming because the Tableau is installed in my machine, so automatically the TWBX is considered this is a Tableau workbook, packaged workbook. So now click on open. So this is a packaged workbook, so it will all the worksheet belong to that workbook, including the data source. Everything will be available there, and including the data, because it holds everything. Alright, so you see that, so we just created. So now if you share this packaged workbook to anyone, whoever wants to look at this, they have just Tableau reader, they do not have Tableau developer or anything, they can still view this. Okay, so they can open it, they can view it, they can give you comments or recommendation. So most of the time we send this kind of packaged workbook to business user, because they will give you keep recommending you some visualization standpoint, what they want, what they like, what they dislike, so that way you can improvise your visualization development. Okay, so you saw that with different tab, we created different color, everything retains when you save it as TWPX and you just reuse it. So each and every functionality, so that the one I was showing you yesterday is everything is one functionalities part of the training process, but this is how we save it and we reuse it. Okay, so let me